Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into something a little bit unusual.
Yeah.
We're talking about Coca-Cola.
Okay. Familiar.
Yeah, familiar. Everybody knows it, right?
Right.
But also chlorate. And that's a little less familiar.
Yeah. I don't know that I would put those two together.
Yeah, you don't typically think about, like, your refreshing beverage
Right.
alongside chemicals that you find in, disinfectants and things.
Yeah, more of a cleaning product vibe.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So this is all stemming from a recall that's happening over in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
They're pulling Coca-Cola products off the shelves because they've detected high levels of chlorate. And a few batches even made it over to the UK. So, I mean, how does a chemical that you'd usually find in bleach end up in our drinks?
That's the question, isn't it? Yeah, so chlorate, I think you said it, it's used in a lot of different ways as bleach, herbicides. It's really good at killing bacteria, which is why it's used a lot in water treatment.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even when water's been treated, you can still have trace amounts left behind.
So is that where this Coca-Cola thing is coming from then?
It seems like that's the most likely culprit, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, it's in the water. Is this like Coca-Cola just messing up? Or is it just kind of like an unavoidable thing with how we treat water these days?
I don't think it's as simple as just saying Coca-Cola messed up.
Okay.
The EU, for example, they've got this limit on how much chlorate can be in drinking water. It's like 0.25 milligrams per liter. But when it comes to food, the limit's way stricter. And it changes depending on what kind of food it is.
Oh.
So it looks like whatever chlorate they found in these Coke batches went over those limits.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Like, you've got these different limits, right? So maybe with like a little bit of chlorate, it's fine if it's just in your water.
Mm-hmm.
But when it gets, concentrated in something you're drinking a lot of, like soda,
Exactly.
then it becomes a problem.
That's the thing, yeah.
Okay, so how bad is this stuff really? I mean, you say, disinfectant chemicals.
Right.
It's kind of freaky.
It sounds scary, right.
Yeah.
But for most adults, like, if you're healthy and you're only exposed to a little bit of chlorate every now and then,
Okay.
it's probably not going to hurt you. But there's one group that you really got to worry about. Babies and little kids.
Oh, okay.
Chlorate messes with how red blood cells carry oxygen.
Oh, wow.
And in serious cases, you can get something called methemoglobinemia.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But it can be a real problem.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes those strict food limits make more sense then.
Definitely.
Especially for anything that kids might be, consuming. So, okay, Coca-Cola is doing the recall. But what does this mean, like, bigger picture? Does this mean something's wrong with how they make Coke everywhere? Or even with other food companies, too?
That's the question that everyone should be asking.
Right.
I think this whole situation raises some interesting points. Like, first off, it shows how important it is to have good testing
Okay.
and quality control at every step of how we make our food. And then there's the whole thing about water quality, like how it's different in different places and how it's treated. And lastly, when stuff like this happens, companies got to be upfront about it.
Yeah.
And they got to act fast
Yeah.
to get those bad products off the shelves.
Right. Transparency and all that.
Exactly.
Okay, so this might just be a recall in a few countries. But it really makes you think about, like, how complicated the whole global food system is. Like, you grab a bottle of Coke and it seems so simple.
Yeah.
But there's this whole chain of things that have to happen. And at any point, something could go wrong.
Right. And, I think it also reminds us that we as consumers, we've got a role to play too.
Oh, okay. How so?
Like, we got to stay informed, ask questions, and know where our food and drinks come from.
Okay.
That way, we can make smarter choices.
Right.
And push for more transparency from the companies that make the stuff we buy.
So it's not quite as simple as like, oh, a sip of Coke and now I'm drinking bleach.
No.
But it's definitely a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Like, hey, pay attention to what's in your food. And also, be thankful for those safety rules and checks that are in place because they're important. And, it makes you wonder, right, if this happened with Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
what other stuff might be lurking in the things we eat and drink every day?
That's a good question to ponder.
Yeah. And on that note, thanks for tuning in to our deep dive today.
Until next time.
See you later.